All right. Welcome. Happy Sunday. Welcome to this week's Director Dash meeting. So before we get started with our training tonight, I kind of wanted to ask you guys what you thought of last week's and if you kind of, went through with the challenge of your affirmations, personal development, all of that good stuff. Does anybody have... I know when I get out of my routine of personal development and I get back into it, because everybody has their slumps, I always know it's like overpowering of, okay, yeah, I definitely need to do this. So did anybody have those aha moments for the week after last week's training? You can unmute yourself if you're muted and you want to chat. Because you guys were supposed to, the challenge was doing affirmations, visualizations, and personal development. I don't know if they talked about this last week, but Miracle Morning, did they talk about that at all last week in regards to starting your day at the very beginning and doing visualization and doing affirmations and exercising and all that fun stuff like at 5 a.m. in the morning? All things we really, really want to do, but at 5 a.m. it's really hard to get out of bed and do. But, hopefully, I don't know if anybody wants to kind of chime in on if anything happened last week with them and that they might feel proud on. Definitely praise yourself. And if you do, go ahead. Oh, right here.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, I can. Awesome.
Okay. So, yes, I had started Miracle Morning about 3 weeks ago, and I've been religiously doing it. And if you have not participated in it, you need to download the book. And it's amazing. It's life-changing. It's amazing how everything kind of starts to fall into place. And then the call that we had on Friday, is it Jenny Bird?
Yeah.
Bird, yes. And she kind of it was exactly the same thing. It was exactly what she talked about that had kind of fell into place with Miracle Morning. So if you are not familiar with that, you get into it and do it.
Awesome. Thanks, Kara. Yeah, I did that as well a little while ago, and then I had a baby and everything fell apart. I was like, there's no way, I need my sleep. But it is life-changing because it's just taking that 1 hour a day and then you feel like you're conquered the day and the day hasn't even begun yet. Your kids haven't even got out of bed and you're like, oh my gosh. So awesome. Well, thank you. Well,
hey, Patia, I want to ask a question real quick. Has anybody raised your hand if you have done meditations? Has anybody tried that? Good. A couple of you have. I know I've been doing that lately, and just like a 10-minute, if you're at regionals, I talked about it, but just like a 10-minute meditation in the morning. And I choose the one that's for the day of success, meditating for success and affirmation, and it really does set your whole mindset and get you going for the day as well. So if you haven't tried that, try that as well before you even get out of bed to do your personal development and everything.
Awesome. Well, tonight we have an awesome training with Alyssa and I. I'm obviously not Alicia Bradenberger. Sorry, I had to use her little Zoom number. But I'm Patia Meismer for all you guys who do not know. And Alyssa Van Vactor, wave your hand. Her and I are going to be training tonight. We're going to be doing an awesome training about Class A prospects. And this is really, some fundamentals on growing your business. So all of you guys are directors and you want to grow to SD and above. To personally do that, it is, and you guys have probably heard it before, but it's been by personally growing your business with recruits. I wish that I could say, I got to 2-star national marketing director and hey, I'm done working. This is awesome. I made it. But I can't do that. If I want to stay at this rank, or if I even want to go above this rank, I have to continuously bring people in, because I know that only 50% of people that I bring in are even going to do anything. I'm talking anything, even getting free product. Okay. And then some of them might do something. A lot of people at the beginning never see this as an opportunity. So keep that in mind. Not that I try not to ever talk someone into the business, and I try not to make it so fluff that they're just like, oh, whatever, I'll join, I get some free product. But at the same time, like there's so many people, especially national marketing directors that I've heard that said they never even knew the possibilities were here at the beginning. I mean, they thought about it and dreamed about it, but they never thought it could be possible. But tonight we want to talk about kind of Class A prospects and keep driving your personal business, but as well as gathering, your team's Class A prospects and how to get Class A prospects and what Class A prospects even are. A lot of people might not even know what those are. So we want to just open it up tonight to Alyssa Van Vactor. She's going to explain what a Class A prospect is. And then I'm going to go over some techniques on how to actually close Class A prospects and keep growing your business. So, Alyssa, you ready?
Thanks. Yeah. Okay, guys. So where did Class A prospects come from? It actually is a David Bird kind of method. So we really picked up Class A prospects probably about a year and a half ago and started working on those and training on them. And if Class A prospect is somebody that you have talked about the business when you're doing your 2-a-days, and they've said, yes, I'm interested. So first of all, they have to be somebody that is interested, that have said, yes, send me more information. And they have to be less than 60 days old. So if it's somebody that you've been talking to that's interested, but it's been like 6 months, that's not a Class A prospect. So think of these people as hot yeses. They're people that they're interested in the business. You're using a third-party tool with them. It's been less than 60 days and you're working them through right now. So these people are going to come from your 2-a-day exposures, whether it's warm market or cold market. So Patia and I did a really fun approach one day, I think it was this summer maybe, or this spring, where we were like, hey, let's meet at the mall. Let's join up together and let's work our cold market together so that it's more fun. We can feed off of each other. Those of you that were at the NLA, I think it was last spring with Jennifer Givens and Shallon, they kind of talked about doing this. So Patia and I met at the mall. We hit up a couple of stores. I think we went to like 2 or 3 stores and we did shopping. Like we just hung out with each other. We caught up, we were shopping. And while we were shopping, we were also looking for people that we could expose on the business. And so we had our eye serum samples ready to go. We had our business cards. We had our apps ready. If you have not downloaded the Go Prospect yet, make sure that you do that because that is a really, really important tool to use for Class A prospects. So I'm opening up my app right now. So when you are out and about in the cold market, for example, and you meet somebody and they're like, well, sure, send me some more information. I'd love to hear what you're doing, or I'd love to know some more. I immediately open up my Go Prospect app and I find a video. The one that I like to use is Why Miriam, Why Now? It's a quick, short video. If you haven't watched it yet, you can check it out and watch it. It talks a little bit about the products, but then it's more business heavy. So if you have somebody that is more interested in the products and you're at an RRP and you're talking to them about products, whatever, there's a really good one called The Holistic Approach to Anti-Aging. But the Why Miriam, Why Now, I feel like is a really good kind of quick video to grab people's attention, kind of let them know the possibility, what's out there. It's exciting and it's fast. But the great thing about Go Prospect is that you can enter their information. You can text it to them right on the spot. You can email it to them. And then it's showing you how often they're watching it. It's showing you when you approach them the last. It's helping you with your follow-ups. So that's a really good way to work your Class A prospects because it helps you to keep track of how often they've watched the videos, you've reached out to them. I know Paul Wyatt talked about a baseball diamond and kind of said that when you're exposing people, like everybody kind of starts at home plate, and then as you get a yes and you're exposing them, you could take them to first base, and that might be like giving them a magazine or sending them a video. And then if they're like, yeah, this seems really interested, I'm really interested in knowing more about how I can earn an iPad or a Lexus or a free vacation, then you get them on a 3-way call and you're moving them to second base. And then they get on the 3-way call and they're like, wow, this is really great. And you're just continuously moving them around the baseball diamond. So our whole goal with Class A prospects is to build it up to a group of 10. So if you can have 10 hot Class A prospects that have said yes during the course of a month, then you will continuously always have 1 to 2, maybe 3 brand partners in a given month that will say yes and sign up. So that's how we build more brand partners, is you are doing your 2 exposures a day. And like Patia said, like it's going to take a while to find those yeses. But when you do find those yeses, you just are continuously adding them to your Class A prospect list. And then if you can get those to have 10 during the month, you always have 10 people that have said, yes, send me more information. I want to know more about this. I want to keep talking about this. then at any given point during the month, you'll have a couple of those that will pop and say yes and sign up. So when I first started this and David Burr was talking about this, I remember being really overwhelmed by that. And like 10, like I only have like 1 or 2, maybe 3 people that I'm talking to that have said, yes, send me more information. The problem is that if we're continuously only working that 1 or 2 people, then they may say no after a while, or they may give up, or we may be too, we might have like, fire hose, we might be spending too much information on them because we're just focused on that one person. So we are constantly building our wheel of our 10 Class A prospects that are interested. And then like Patia said, the other key with that as a director trying to get to senior director is taking a tally of how many Class A prospects your team has. So calling through each of your teammates and just being like, hey, I'm working on this new thing called Class A prospects. A Class A prospect is somebody that you're currently talking to that has said, yes, they're interested in the business. I just want to take tally of how many of those people we currently have that are interested across my entire team. And I just was wondering, how many people are you talking to right now that really are interested in the business that have said yes, that you are talking to? And then your goal is to constantly be keeping track of those numbers. You don't necessarily mean names, but you're just going to constantly be keeping track. And if you have 3 legs and you have 1 leg that's just 1 person, another leg that's a senior brand partner leg, and a 3rd leg that's maybe got 2 people, and you know that one of those legs has no Class A prospects, then that's kind of a trigger for you as a leader to know to work that leg and help build up those Class A prospects so that you can continue to grow that leg. So there's lots of other tools out there that you can use as well. Jennifer Givens and Jennifer Elston both have recorded calls that you can use for prospects to kind of like grab their attention. They're just a few minutes long. I know that Shalyn Murphy has a Zoom, or not, it was a Periscope. When we used to use Periscope, like way back in the day, she recorded like her personal testimony, and it's on YouTube if you look up Patrick and Shalyn Murphy, and it's kind of her testimony. Facebook parties are really good for these. So if you have a team and you're like, hey, we've got 15 days left, 16 days left until this month is over, let's take a tally of how many Class A prospects that we have, and then we're going to have a Facebook party, and we're going to invite all those people on. So we talked about that. Your warm market. So calling people on the phone and just being like, hey, I don't know if you're keeping your income options open, but I have this little side gig that I'm doing. I thought about you. I really respect you and value your feedback. If I sent you a quick little video, would you check it out and let me know what you think? It's really that simple. And so sending people things like that, text messages and videos, and then just, the more 2-a-days that you can do, or 3 or 4 exposures a day, the faster you're going to build those Class A prospects. I know for me personally, when I was running for NMD, I was doing probably 4 or 5 exposures 5 days a week. And not that you have to do that, but if there is a time like right now in the 90-day run where we have momentum on our side, we're working and we're running, there may be a couple of days where you bump up your Class A or your exposures so you can find those Class A prospects. Another great way to find Class A prospects is sampling. So when you're sampling your product out there, then when they're like day 2 or 3 in, just be, and you're talking to them about following up with them. How do you like the product? How are things going? And when they're like, oh my gosh, I love this stuff. I love how tight my skin feels. I love the hydrogel patches or whatever they're sampling. Then you could just be like, I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but I know you love the product. I'm sure you have 3 friends that would love it too. And then when they're like, oh yeah, I got my mom, my sister, my neighbor, my friend, or whatever, then you can be like, this is a great way to get your product for free and make a little extra money on the side, because all it takes is getting started with 3 friends that would love the product too. And so that's a great way too, just flipping those people from being customers or from people that have been sampling that love the product as well. So as long as you can build up, if you only have 2 or 3 potential Class A prospects right now, then really make it a goal to build that by the end of the month and try to get to 8 to 10 Class A prospects, because I know it's overwhelming in the beginning to think to get to 10. I remember being super overwhelmed by that, but that's our goal. You don't have to get there tomorrow, but that's our goal, is to find those people that have said, yes, I'm interested. I want more information right now. And then using those third-party tools like 3-way calls, the magazines, the videos, the market parties, a Facebook party, a sit down, things like that, that you can get them to. And then you guys as directors, to get to senior director, your goal is to teach and train your teams to do the same thing. So take this knowledge that you're learning on what a Class A prospect is and trickle it down to your teams so that they have a chance to learn and to grow that as well. I'm trying to think, there was something else I was going to say. Another thing I was going to say is use your partner. So we talked before about partnering you guys up with somebody that you can work with that's in the same boat. So challenge each other, talk to each other on the phone. How many Class A prospects do you have? What kind of tools are you using with your team? Or let's make a goal together and let's see if by the end of the month we can get 2 or 3 more Class A prospects. And just kind of hold each other accountable and really push each other. And then Ann and Angela did a Zoom one time and I was on there and they talked about, I think it was Angela O'Neill talked about how she uses just a yellow legal pad. And she literally just writes down on this yellow legal pad everybody that she's sampled, that she's talked to, or an Excel document or whatever works for you. And then she makes sure that she, checks off if it is a Class A prospect or what is she doing next to follow up with that person. If you guys have been around for a while, you might have heard us talk about Fort Knox in a box. I have my Fort Knox in a box here, but it's literally taking a file box like this. And my son just took mine apart, I realized, because I had it all put together here. But then you have your organizers, your labels that are on there. And I labeled mine by day of the week. And then as you meet somebody new, and you can go to YouTube and put in Fort Knox in a box, and it kind of pops up with some videos, you can get the idea. But every time you expose somebody, you write down their information, their name, their phone number, their email, how you met them, how you followed up with them, what you do, you date it, and then you can file it away. So like if tomorrow is Monday and I'm starting this, if I expose somebody and I get a yes and I'm talking to them, then I can take the index card that I fill out for them and move it to Wednesday. And then on Wednesday, when I open up my index card box and I pull those out, I'm like, oh, I need to follow up with this person because I moved them to Wednesday. And then you can follow up with them again. Maybe you're using another third-party tool. And so you have that kind of fresh list of people that you're working on. And then if it's somebody that has said no, you can move them back to the back of your just contacts that you're working on. Another thing I've done is I have a dry erase board in my office, and I'm writing down all the people I'm currently sampling, currently talking to, and then I have a separate column of the Class A prospects. Once they've kind of gone over to the other side and they've said yes, then I know I'm working that list differently. So those are all just different kind of ways, tips, methods for how you can manage those, gain those, and what a Class A prospect is. And then I'll let Patia kind of take over and share with you how to close them and how to get them kind of to get into the business.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so we cannot leave our fate in anyone else's hands, guys. I know we all have awesome teams, but you have to remember this is what you can do to get to the next level. And just think that you're going to bring on 3 new people that are going to get you to senior director. And just keep visualizing it, keep knowing it in your head, guys. And it's all what you do. So a little bit about how I close a Class A prospect is obviously following up. And I always follow up with a third-party tool. So I do, like Angela, I do keep a list, and I've actually kept a list since I started of all the people that have said that at one time they have been interested in the Nerean business. And I will periodically follow up, like when we went into wellness or when we get a new line or something. And I know that timing is everything. And so I know that maybe the timing wasn't for them then, but maybe it is now. So I will reapproach them with that. I always follow up third-party tools like 3-way calls, getting them to a market party, getting a magazine in their hand, getting a sample bottle in their hand. I'm telling you, the sample products is like my go-to because I know, like it's funny because whatever you kind of join the business, that's kind of you'll do to your prospects. And I came from a party, but I also came from the product. So I bought the product at the party and I fell in love with the product. And I know that our products are so amazing. So if I can get these products in people's hands, then they're going to obviously start thinking about the business. Then I'll send a video and say, I'll follow up. How are you loving the samples? Here's a 5-minute little video, or here's a how-to video, whatever, some kind of third-party tool. And I'll just start piquing interest. It's all about just, listening to them and hearing what their hurt is. And maybe they don't have a hurt. Maybe you don't know what that is. But at the same time, everybody does love free, and just kind of piquing their interest of free product could possibly be the answer to them getting in the business. And again, maybe them seeing the big picture. As it does get closer, so the key thing, obviously, with the Class A prospect is that it has to be within 60 days. And I know sometimes it feels like, man, I know they could be so good, but they're like at 90 days, I'm just going to keep talking to them and talking to them. Go ahead and give it a rest. Move on. I know, I mean, sometimes like, I'm like, oh my gosh, no, these people are going to be so good. I'm going to just keep, talking to them. But at 60 days, that's when I kind of like make a closure on those people. And I try to get a yes or no out of them. Like I'll use words like, I think you would be so amazing at this. I don't want to keep bugging you. Obviously, I'm just honest. I'm real. I'm just like, if you want to do this with me, we would have so much fun, or you would be great at this. Or I think you would really, like, you wanted make that free, or, earn that free product. Whatever the case may be of what we kind of talked about earlier, I'm trying to get a yes or a no out of them. And I kind of just ask those questions, and I say at the end, if you don't want me to bug you, just tell me, but I just want to follow up to see if this is for you and this timing is for you now. People's main objections are usually they don't have the time. And so I always try to plug that in there into my story even. Another one that people say all the time is, I have no sales experience. I can't do this. I can't do what you do, blah, blah. And I always say there's no sales experience needed. And I will plug someone's story in regards to sales experience. So those are probably the two objections that I seem to always get, is time and the sales, but I kind of put those into my story so they don't become objections anymore. They kind of already know that case. And then at the end of the month, I always put a special out there. If I'm really trying to close some brand partners, I'm going to make, so much, and this is the math that you'll have to do, but how much money will you make off of recruiting a $500 brand partner? Maybe throw in a $25 gift card, maybe throw in a free bottle of their choice of whatever they want. I always do that at the end. And then another thing that definitely I did not learn until later, but something that I think has definitely been working is if I start recruiting and I have maybe even just one brand partner in my placement suite, I will actually entice other brand partners to join my team and have that one brand partner that's in placement. I'll put them under them and I'll tell them that. And I'll say, hey, I have someone in placement suite. I'm not sure what they're going to do with the business, and it wouldn't be your personally sponsored brand partner or anything, but I do have someone in placement that could help you with volume if you want to get started now. And it kind of just puts that extra urgency on it, and it gives them that idea of, oh, okay, what is this? And I put that plug out there. I have no clue what they're going to do because I don't. But at the same time, it has been helping in regards to that. And then I'll have two people in placement. Well, then, I can really start utilizing it. One time, I had $8,000 in placement. Well, I wanted someone at that point that was going to be like really good and understand that this was a really big move, and like someone that's been in direct marketing before that understands the concept. Someone that really, really wants to quit their job and really, really wants to do this full time and has the drive and all that. So that was my time to actually prospect those other people that could have it. So that's just something to think about. If people do have objections with money, and maybe you guys have heard this, maybe you haven't, but Fifth Third Bank still has a card out there that is $500, 0% interest for 12 months. So I never want anyone to kind of start this business if they want to do it without being a product of the product, because I do truly feel like you have to use the products to be able to share the products. So if we're going to do this, then at least start with that at the Fifth Third card and get the product that way. We'll pay it back 12 months, 0% interest. And then another thing that my aunt did was she actually sold the product kind of in advance, got that cash up front, and then bought the kit with the money that she got from the product. So that's just kind of ways, if you are fighting with people that have objections in regards to money or finances of getting in. But we do have a challenge this week, and Alyssa kind of did go over what a little bit of it's going to be, but pretty much it is collecting from yourself and your team, your Class A prospects, who is interested in the business, who has been shared third-party tools within the past 60 days. Share with your team those, what a Class A prospect technically is, and if they have anybody that's in that. and start talking and kind of make it almost like these are your Class A prospects. You have to think about it in that way. This is your business. And if your brand partners have Class A prospects, then go ahead and get hands in and say, okay, let's get these people closed, and really work with them to get them to that next level. Let me see. Use the techniques that we kind of talked about. Lead them to 3-way calls. I kind of feel like those are going to be those are the best in regards to closing them if they are at that stage of closing, but see where they're at and then use the tools that, we've been given. And if you don't feel comfortable doing a 3-way call, definitely let us know. And then see if you can gain any more. So I know Alyssa gave us ideas of how to get more Class A prospects. Do a challenge with yourself. Maybe you and your accountability partner say, okay, I want to get one more Class A prospect this month. And that's just going to be by meeting new people, putting that out there more, putting the business out there. I mean, do you, give people that opportunity to even know about our business? Are you leading with the product or the business? And I'm not saying lead always with the business, but at the same time, if someone's going to be awesome at this and possibly they hate their job or whatever, approach them. Maybe this will give you the guts to kind of just say, hey, and be honest, that always wins, and say, I was thinking about you. I don't know where you are financially or in your career, but we have this amazing business opportunity with Nerium, and I thought of you. So I thought I'd share this video with you, or whatever the case may be. But that's kind of the challenge, is collect all your Class A prospects. We're midway through the month. So we actually have quite a little, we have 2 weeks, which is an eternity in Nerium. So you have time to close these prospects. And remember, this is your business. Do not rely on your team to close these Class A prospects. Do not rely on your team to gain more Class A prospects. This is you, and you can do it, and you will do it. So just kind of keep that in the forefront, and know, because I do know how frustrating this level is, guys, because this was the most frustrating level for me too. It's like, I can't do it. I feel like I'm relying on all my brand partners to do it. And when you turn that focus on, I'm not going to rely on them to do it anymore, I'm going to do it. It completely changes, and you can do it. So hopefully that training was helpful. Alyssa, do you have anything else to kind of comment on?
Yeah. So Patrick said over regionals on Saturday, he said there's people that will come into the business this month and next month and still earn the Cancun trip. People can earn that trip in a month. And so definitely still use that as an incentive to get people to join too, because somebody could come in and he said getting somebody to fast start qualify with 9 customers is kind of one of the fastest ways to even do that. And then all those reorders count. So that's another tool that you can be using too, and should keep in the back of your mind for yourself too, that you can still, double, triple how many volume points you have by just getting another Class A prospect and getting somebody to turn over and say yes, and getting them to realize that. So I wanted to mention that.
Cool. Well, does anyone have any questions before we log off and have a good week?
How many of you guys are going to Puerto Vallarta this week or next week?
Whoop, whoop.
Yay! That's
awesome.
exciting.
Well, I'll see half you guys there. And have a good week, guys. We have 2 more weeks until the end of the month. So make it. Bye.
Bye, guys.